and I know that you guys are all very busy, but saying yes can really help.
As focused as you can around your research agenda is what I found to be helpful. So
during your PhD year, make sure that you publish your dissertation work.
I think it's really important actually to talk about coursework.
Even, if things don't work out in the PhD program, you're going to have these people in your life forever.
As a student, how should one prepare themselves throughout the first year to fourth year of their graduate school?
So I'm going to preface this by saying I know it is exhausting to be in graduate school. We've all been there, and we all have many more wrinkles than we started with. But it's really important to say yes to as many things as you can. You never know when something that you say yes to, whether it be working on a publication with someone, doing field work, doing extra teaching gigs, will end up really helping you out. In particular, I said yes to being on a very random cardiovascular study, and now I work in cardiovascular public health research. So it's those little things. The guy went out, he found that paper, he was like, oh, you do research in cardiovascular health? Yes, I do. So those little things can really help you stand out. Also taking advantage of maybe things you didn't expect that would help you. So with COVID-19, there was a lot of random research that came up related to it. Jump on board. Like, it's hard, and I know that you guys are all very busy, but saying yes can really help.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's really important. And I would completely agree that it really helped me to say yes to a lot of things. But I'll also take a slightly contrary stab on this. It's also very important to be as focused as you can around your research agenda is what I found to be helpful. So if you have disparate different chapters which don't have a common theme to what your research is all about when you're graduating, it can make it that much harder to transition to an academic role, especially. So they really do unfortunately, fortunately, employers in academia really like a cohesive story. They like to be told that this is what I've done from day one till now, and it all makes sense in this amazing theme that I'm talking about. So I think that way it really helps to stay focused and doing chugging away at this one particular research agenda. But it's not easy because most of the times you really don't know where your dissertation is going to go and what your chapters, where they're going to fit in. But I think I found it I learned it the hard way. I said yes to a lot of things. My papers were not very connected. And then in the end, I had to really put them together. I think the other thing which is really important is to, and this is again, academic job specific, to build on your teaching skills. So I think it's really, I wouldn't say easy, but it is easier to be an instructor or a co-instructor when you are a PhD student. So take that responsibility. Try to, being a TA is good, but if you are an instructor by yourself, and if you've made a syllabus already, and if you've already you have a Canvas or whatever Blackboard kind of a course, that really goes a long way in your job applications, because then they can trust that you can actually take care of the whole class on your own, and you're not just a TA and the course was designed by someone else. So I think course designing is really important, and if you can take that experience and build that into your PhD, that would be really good. And I think lastly, what I have found helpful is to get mentorship from not just very senior professors in academia, but also from young assistant professors, because I think they have the most recent and most current feel of the entire industry. And I think I found that the most helpful, because seniors are great and they know a lot and they have this wisdom, but I think the recent assistant professors are the ones who have really gone through the current grunt and they know exactly what it takes to succeed in the market. So yeah, those are things I would tell the students to really keep an eye out for.
Sure. So I kind of, there's so many things that you can do during your PhD. You can try to think ahead and think about all these different check boxes in your CV that you need to fulfill. But eventually that will come. There's always a chance to take a postdoc and build up your CV and sort of the list of appointments further. So I would just emphasize that during your PhD year, make sure that you publish your dissertation work. and try to be in the, in the projects that publish, and you're also a co-author. So like from your dissertation, like roughly each chapter that you have, if it's a published paper, then you have a very competitive CV just by sort of sticking to the main goal during your PhD. This gives you kind of an ability to check that box of the demonstrated ability and success in research in your applications. And usually this correlates for the search committees with the ability to secure funding later. If you're aiming for industry, actually, I like Tim's point when he said that you have to build a portfolio of projects and preferably make them visible like on a website or something like that, so that whatever the recruiters can find you and know what you can do. So during, I would say, kind of concluding remark for this, for your PhD, it's not supposed to last forever. You only have so much time, you only have so much energy. So kind of like do one thing, but do it very well. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, so because talking about the entirety of the PhD is hard, I'm just going to really focus on the beginning. And so I think it's really important actually to talk about coursework. And I know a lot of people think of grad school and they think about, research, stuff like that, but I think coursework is still really important, especially if you're an academic. And so I think that it's really helpful to take methods courses soon and early, either within geography or even outside of geography. I took a methods course in communications, and it was really, really important in shaping how I view research and how I view the whole entire process, the scientific process and the investigation, experimentation process. And so I think taking courses that build the different methods, whether it's quantitative or qualitative, it's all really, really, really good and helpful, and trying to think about how you're going to integrate what you find out in this course work into your dissertation. I think it's really helpful to establish your committee and your support system early on in your graduate career. A lot of people only meet with their committee like during the major milestones, but I think that it's really helpful to meet with them further, and also just email them individually and play to their strengths. Like I have a professor on my committee who's like really an expert on methodology. And so even though I took that methods course, it's really nice to run things past him about stats and stuff like that I'm not familiar with. And so building that foundation, that support foundation, even though as a PhD student, you want to be leading the show, but you also want to have that support system that you can lean on when you're not sure about things. And so I think that's really important, and that'll help you once you establish that in your first year, then you can really just lean on that throughout and continue to grow as a PhD student and beyond.
So for me, my first year in a PhD program, being really good and really close friends with the cohort that came in. And so you're all going to sort of navigate these issues in similar timelines, and having that cohort was so essential to me, just to like keep me sane. And these people, they remain your friends and your colleagues forever. And so even, if things don't work out in the PhD program, you're going to have these people in your life forever. And that's, I think, really great. Other things, so going into year one, I sort of knew that I wanted to stay in academia. And so the advice that I received, was really, really focus on my research and publish. But I do want to acknowledge that because of that, I suffered in terms of my teaching skills. And it's something that I still deal with today. So I appreciate the thoughts on some of those skills that you should have. And then I think mentoring is really important as well. And so not only having those teaching skills, but mentoring some undergraduate students and getting to know what that's going to be like if you want to stay in academia. And mentoring, I think, is one of the main reasons that we're in academia, right? That we're teaching these students, and they're sort of going to be the next generation of scholars. And so I think it's very, very important to keep that in mind. One thing that I did, so once I knew that I was going to this specific PhD program, I reached out to my advisors and I was like, what can I start working on now? Because I did have like some time in the summer. And so as a result of that, we did start working on projects. And so year one, I had a publication, and I felt that went a long way for me. So hit the ground running, I think, is important too.